All right. It should be recording now. If everyone got the notification recording in process. Okay, cool. Well, we're going to start today's session off with an icebreaker. If Amy, you can go to the next slide. Oh, yours is skipped. So I'll just read the icebreaker. Who has had a positive influence on you and how? And feel free to either put this in the chat or come off mute. We want this to be a discussion, super interactive today. So yeah, let's start with who has had a positive influence on you and how? Think maybe, oh, there you go. Thanks, Amy.
Yep.
Put it in the chat for us. Thinking old managers, directors, parents, people who had took on a parent role in your life, best friends, anything is open. Former mentors and managers, says Sarah. How did former mentors kind of have a positive influence on you?
Yeah, early career especially, I think, the people who are looking out for you and who are helping kind of guide you with the wisdom and School of Hard Knocks to help make your life a little bit less cumbersome in those years of complete discovery and exploration. Just, knowing that people are there to help shepherd you to success.
Hi. So I was a part of like a pilot mentoring program where I was a mentee and was assigned a mentor. So I didn't choose my own person, which I just sometimes some people get to choose and some people don't. But it ended up being such a great experience that he and I continued to chat usually twice a month. And honestly, with just the current place I'm at in my life right now, which is a lot of family stuff and a lot of changes at work. It's just change all over. He's been helpful, not just with like navigating the like BPA business as much as just like, he's like, don't worry about the work, go take care of your family or go do the thing or take care of yourself. And so it's just really nice to have that person who can be that voice advocating for you, and not just the business work. Yeah, because sometimes it's hard to advocate for yourself when it's just coming from you.
Absolutely. Anyone else have anything to add here on who's had a positive influence on you? Helen in the chat said, my ATD P mentors, which is wonderful. OPS mentors. Awesome. Well, one more question here, and this will just help us level set for today, is what do you expect from today's event? What were you hoping to get out of it?
I already asked Sarah and Julie, so you're off the hook. Unless you want to share again so everyone can hear, that's great.
I will share again, just because, why not? I'm helping build our agency's first mentoring program. We've had a lot of what I'm just calling micro mentoring programs around the agency because people are so hungry for it. They're trying to create their own, but they're very niche and specific to certain small groups needs. And I'm trying to build something that can fill the gaps that those programs aren't supporting. And so trying to find a way to support the entire agency and create those peer-to-peer and junior to senior relationships.
Awesome. And then in the chat, Helen said, expand my perspective on mentorship from a programming perspective as well as a participant. Tiffany said, I just joined ATD recently. So excited to learn from others' experiences around DEI programming. Well, welcome, Tiffany. I am also pretty new, so we can go through this together. And that's awesome. Helen, thank you all for sharing. So with that, I'll give you all a little background around ATD. This will be quick. I'll kind of breeze through it so we can get to the good content. Amy, if you want to reshare your slides for me.
And I realized I did hide a lot of these intro slides, Emily, so sorry about that.
That's all right.
Okay.
Perfect. So this is just an approved credit reminder. So this event and all of our monthly events are approved as continuing education credits for CP, TD, and the APTD. So many acronyms. We can go to the next one. So speaking of membership, there is a discount when you combine your ATD and chapter memberships to become Power Member. Access to ATD's global network includes listed perks like TD Magazine and sessions recordings. So just want a kind of general reminder about the Power membership that you can be here at ATD. The next, if you plan on going to an ATD national event workshop or buy a book on td.org using the code 8020 at checkout, is a way to give back to your Puget Sound chapter. So this is your ATD CHIP chapter incentive program. All right, we can keep going. Be a volunteer. So I am a new volunteer here at ATD Puget Sound. And if you're interested, please reach out to this email. I'll put it in the chat as well. For anyone who's interested in looking at the available positions, I know there are quite a few, and everyone is always looking for a fresh talent. So moving on to kind of today and the ATD talent development model. Our chapter events are always chosen with the talent development capability model in mind, which centers on 3 domains of practice. 1, building personal capability. 2, developing personal capability. And 3, impacting organizational capability. Today's event develops your knowledge to create a mentoring program with a DEI lens for protege growth and development. So we're looking really here at that one career and leadership development sector. As a result, the mentoring program or programs you create will be more likely to equitably drive employee engagement, cross-departmental knowledge, and your org's reputation as a great place to work, developing your own benchmark. So there we go, kind of seeing another capability. And last but not least, introducing your wonderful speaker today, Amy Casbolt, she, her pronouns. She is a 5-year member of ATD Puget Sound with a passion for employee experience within organizations. As a learning and development partner at the Community Health Plan of Washington, she runs the onboarding and mentoring programs along with all employee growth initiatives. One of her current projects is creating practical career navigation workshops for employees. When she's not working or volunteering at ATD Puget Sound, she enjoys spending time with her nephews, hiking, and taking walks with friends. And so now I will officially pass it over to you, Amy. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Emily. It's so great to meet you and all the rest of you here. If you want to take a walk, I'm in the Everett area. Just connect on LinkedIn and we'll make a time. Awesome. All right. So my story, my inspiration behind this topic is that in my organization, Community Health Plan of Washington, the employee engagement survey showed that employee satisfaction with career growth and development, it was down. And in the free text comments of the survey, folks wanted a mentoring program. So my learning and development team is a mighty team of 2, housed in the HR team in a 700 employee organization. So we are a nonprofit. We're very mission driven because Community Health Plan of Washington serves Washington's most vulnerable populations. We are the Medicaid and Medicare managed care organization for the state. And so our clients or our members, we call them members, have the lowest income and many times the poorest health. in our state. So consequently, we're very focused as an organization on equity for our health plan, for our members, and for our employees. So we did have a skeleton of an effective mentoring program. And the reason I say it that way is because it was based in research. It was a quality program, but it was completely employee driven. No one was driving it. So you know what that means? No one was using it. Nobody knew about it. And so it definitely needed a refresh and a revamp. And we really wanted that DEI lens while we did that. So I wanted to do this member event together with you to share my story, as I haven't heard of many mentoring programs built through a DEI lens. If you have, I would love to hear about it. And let's do this as more of a discussion than a presentation. I will share with you my process and what my organization went through and the results as I have them. But if you are able to take yourself off mute, add your comments in the chat, because your ideas really make this event valuable. So DEI mentoring programs together in the next, before 1 o'clock. We're so short on time already. Identify the purpose of your mentoring program. We will identify the DEI considerations and mitigate barriers to DEI in your mentoring program. And then we'll discuss measures of the effectiveness of your mentoring program through that DEI lens. So come on off mute, put in the chat. I want to think about why we do mentoring. What are some of the advantages of mentoring?
Julie in the chat said retention.
Absolutely. Yep. Employee satisfaction. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, upskilling.
Upskilling. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Getting better at your job. Greater career mobility, maybe. Thanks.
I always liked mentoring, kind of, as I think we were talking earlier about ways to have informal, you can prioritize yourself, informal professional development, as it's not always kind of tracked by your manager.
Love that, Emily. Yes. And that is one of the things we built into our mentoring program. Folks will not be paired with their manager for that and other reasons. We expect that our managers are already mentoring in a way, but there's not that report to relationship where someone's holding you accountable for your work. It's a more informal, broad guidance and support in your career. Thanks for bringing that up. Absolutely. Skill building and relationship building, maybe that political savvy, greater career satisfaction. So the reason I chose this picture, who do you think the mentor is in this picture?
Both people.
Why do you say that, Julie?
Why do I say that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because I've been doing a ton of research on mentoring programs, and apparently there's a term for it, which is, I'm forgetting what it is. And I just thought it was weird that a term existed, because I've always thought of mentoring as a mutually beneficial relationship, but apparently some traditionalists or whatever, it was a very, senior person giving information to the junior person, and them was the traditional definition or expectation, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you for presenting this slide, Julie. We're ready to move on. That's exactly what I wanted to bring out, because I'll admit to you, I thought that the taller lady on the left was the mentor. I'll be frank and open and honest, because she looks older, maybe because she's white. I don't know. But I assume she was the mentor. And, depending on the purpose of your mentoring program, why can't they both be mentoring each other, like you said, Julie? that's what I'm seeing in my mentoring program is mentors and mentees are learning from each other. That's such a great point. And, why can't the person on the right be mentoring the person on the left? She may have experience in worldwide travel or maybe many languages and experience in different cultures that she's mentoring this person on. So in our a mentoring program, it really is someone with more experience mentoring someone with less experience. There's no other designation. And so just wanted to bring that out. Thank you, Julie. All right. Julie, I know you're building a mentoring program. Anyone else building or starting a mentoring program right now? How about if you're running one? Are you running a mentoring program? It's all
Helen
right.
in the chat said they just launched one for the chapter.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, who said it in the chat?
That was Helen.
Oh, Helen, that's right. Yes, our ATD Puget Sound chapter has a mentoring program. Helen, if you don't mind, do you know like the overall purpose of that mentoring program?
She said, be right back.
Oh, okay. Well, I can share the purpose of my organization's mentoring program. It is really to provide that long-term professional relationship with someone who has more experience with guidance and support. And we included sponsorship, what I've called sponsorship. We don't call it that in my organization. We just call it mentoring. But that active pointing out opportunities, opening doors, introducing people to folks, your mentee or your protege, to other people in your network, encouraging them, pointing out pitfalls. Watch out for this. I've been there, done that, and this happened. Careful there. So as I mentioned, someone with more experience, mentoring someone with less experience. And so my organization's mentoring program is for employees. That's the emphasis that we have. So even though our previous dormant mentoring program was for employees, it's amazing how many of my colleagues described it to me as a leadership program. And oh, it's only for those who are already leaders. So consequently, they did not think that the mentoring program was for them. So I want to think about how the purpose of your mentoring program. It depends on the purpose of your mentoring program. What about it could dissuade folks from participating? So it's very important to consider the purpose of the mentoring program. Let's think about members of a historically marginalized group, people of color, LGBTQIA folks, disabled folks. What about a mentoring program's purpose may dissuade them from joining or make them think it's not for them? What do you think? I gave you a little hint.
Azure says it might be too formal.
Yep. Too formalized. If you have for leaders or high potentials, terms like that in your purpose may dissuade folks or make them think it's not for them. Oh, that's for someone who's already a manager. That's for someone who's leading a team already.
Julie
Or,
also says maybe looking for someone with the same background.
thank you. Yes, yes, absolutely. I love that because that connects with what an important point that historically marginalized folks may have historically not had the opportunities to become leaders, even though they're completely qualified. So even though they're equally qualified, they're not given those opportunities to be in leadership. And so they don't see themselves in leadership or in, programs for high potentials, or what in the world do you mean by high potentials? That's important to define. but they can't visualize themselves as leaders. And so this is a feedback loop where they may not voice their interest or join your mentoring program because they don't think it's for them. So thanks for brainstorming that with me. I do have a resource that Emily will share with all of us. If, I'm using terms like historically marginalized groups and stuff. And if you're not as familiar with the structural inequities in American society, that I understand completely. I was there just a couple years ago. So I have some resources to share with you that Emily will share at the end here. All right. What might be some DEI considerations in a mentoring program? What might be some barriers to employees participating? Can we have annotations on this slide, Emily?
Absolutely. So for anyone who's not familiar with annotation, up at probably the top of your screen when it says you're viewing Amy's screen, there's a little view options button, a little drop down arrow, and then you can go click on the button annotate. Now, if you click on the little T for text, it'll allow you to type anywhere on the screen, and then we can move it around as needed.
Thank you. If you need ideas to get your thoughts started, oh, we've got some coming in. Excellent. Availability of diverse mentors. Absolutely. That comes back to the comment we had earlier. I'm sorry, I don't remember who said it, but seeing people like yourself that you want to be your mentor.
Julie, you said you're not seeing it as an option under the view options page. So like where it would be like fit to window or exit.
Same place as the standard side-by-side speaker, side-by-side gallery, correct?
Yes, and annotate's not an option there.
Not, I blame my business.
I did it too all the time. I'm like, I just blame my cybersecurity team. Thanks.
Exactly.
Thanks for keeping us safe.
Let me see if I can enable it in a different way.
Thanks.
Oh, if Helen can do it. Okay, so it's not the Zoom capability.
Julie, if you wouldn't mind saying yours out loud, if someone would type it in for her, because I'm going to capture these in a screenshot for later.
I'll type it in for you if you want to say it out loud.
Oh, I didn't have one to add. I was just listening.
Trying to figure out the tech. Yeah, no worries. Let's see, we have, I think it was Helen, or no, Sarah put this in, DEI lens and awareness in mentors themselves. Such a great point. Is bias coming into whether you say yes to taking someone on as a mentor? I mean, yeah, as a mentee. Someone asks you to be their mentor. Is there bias in saying yes or no to that person? Perceived power dynamics. Sarah, what more do you mean by that?
Well, I think that the role of the mentor in and of itself could be perceived as a power, a position of power, kind of if you're not careful. And so that's one aspect, but also just organizationally speaking, if somebody's like 3 levels up in the organization, the mentee might not feel comfortable, because they think like, oh my gosh, this person's so high up, quote unquote, the ladder, the proverbial ladder, and maybe not have that comfort to be themselves.
Oh, thank you for expanding on that. I do have that in our mentoring program, folks. Our CEO is amazing. Leanne Burge is mentoring 2 different people in addition to leading the organization. And I've had this with proteges and mentees like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I get the CEO, like, or even VPs or directors, they'll have that little bit of a fear or anxiety reaction. So to their credit, they are moving forward, but absolutely that little bit of a, oh my gosh, this person's way up in the organization. Ooh, asking too much of our diverse team members. Emily, did you put that in?
Yes, I did.
Ooh, expand on that.
I think because of just the way that we've been structured so far, we're still catching up to having true diverse workforce. And I think we task our diverse workforce with a lot of different requests, whether it to be on interview loops or to head up DEI, ERGs. And a lot of that work is not necessarily paid or is just additional work. And so I think whether it's asking them to be mentors or take part in a mentorship program, we ask a lot of our diverse population.
Such a great point. I'm so glad you brought that up, Emily. I do feel that in our organization as we focus on, equity and inclusion, we do want to amplify historically marginalized groups' voices, and at the same time, very careful to explain everything. You don't want to do that either. So it's definitely a balance. Potential participants not sure if they are suitable for the program. Helen, yes, Helen, thank you for that. That ties into, am I correct in thinking that ties into what we talked about earlier of this program isn't necessarily for me, or you don't feel like you belong?
She says yes in the chat.
Perfect, thank you. All right, I've taken a screenshot. Let me see if I can get this over to you in the chat. Emily, thank you so much. These are great thoughts to get us started here. All right. Let me make sure I get this to you in the chat. Gosh, there's a lot of windows open here in Zoom, isn't there?
How about I screenshot it and I can send it over?
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Let me know when you're done.
I'm done.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily. All right. Yes, so here's what my organization came up with in the Black. So sorry if it overlays a little bit. Access, that speaks to several of the things that you brought up. Availability of diverse mentors, potential participants not feeling like they belong, not raising your hand to show interest. That can be simply because you're not interested, but it can also be a cultural thing, or you don't feel like you belong. So you're not going to raise your hand to be interested in the program. And then a couple of the things that our leadership came up with while I was presenting this new program to them. Senior leader mentors were historically taken by white mentees. And what were we going to do to mitigate that barrier? And then Sarah, you brought this one up, personal bias and a mentor accepting a mentoring relationship with a mentee. And historically, marginalized groups have not had the opportunity to participate in mentoring. So these two kind of related, right? How are we going to maybe have it so people of color get the mentor that they want? Maybe they want to be mentored by the CEO. How are we going to do that? CEO is only one person. All right, so this is kind of big. It's a lot. It can be overwhelming. So hold on. We're gonna take a deep breath and we're gonna think of this another way. All right. So I was feeling overwhelmed about this at the time. And a colleague, I asked for some advice and some help. And my colleague asked me, what do you want when you say you want DEI in your mentoring program? So this phrase really helped me in defining what I want from Verna Myers. Diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance. Just kind of clicked in my head with that. Does anyone else have like a light bulb moment in DEI that helped them?
There's a really good cartoon image of equality versus equity, of those kids looking over the fence at the baseball. I'll see if I can find it. I love that image. It's very helpful.
I love that too, Sarah. That was a step in my journey as well, was that cartoon, that drawing. If you find it, go ahead and put in the chat. Absolutely. Okay. So I had to figure out exactly what I meant by DEI. And like most scientifically focused people, I was like, all right, it's time to define our terms. So feel free to look up various state universities. We also have td.org has some definitions, but I liked Ferris State Universities a little bit more. So just some quick definitions here. Diversity is basically the range of human differences. Everything you could think of, how we're different. We're very different, right? We're very the same, but we're very different too. And inclusion is involvement or empowerment, not just attending the dance, but being asked to dance or being asked to design the event even better. So that sense of belonging. And then equity is fair and just practices. If Sarah, I'm not looking at the chat right now, but if Sarah does get that picture in the chat, the picture is a great way to visualize equity, that everyone has what they need to resources, opportunities to succeed and grow, to live the kind of life fully that they want to live. So after some reflections and talking with my colleagues, I was able to identify what I want in DEI for our mentoring program. And that is, I want individuals in the mentoring program.
Amy, we lost your video, just so you know.
Thank you. Let's see if I can get back. Am I back?
You're back.
Thank you. And equity. I want individuals of marginalized groups in my organization to have equal opportunity to be paired with the mentor they want. And inclusion. I want individuals of marginalized groups to feel safe and supported in the mentoring program. So now we're going to use the screenshot we took of your brainstorm of barriers in a mentoring, DEI barriers in a mentoring program, because we're going to go into breakout rooms. Let's do about 10 minutes, Emily. And how can these barriers, and we'll put those in the chat for you that you just came up with, how can they be mitigated in your mentoring program? What process can you build into your program to mitigate those? I'm so excited for your ideas.
I'm just adding the timer and I'm going to open all the rooms.
Wonderful. Any questions before we go as to what you're talking about? All right, come back ready to share. I'm curious for your ideas.
All right, it seems like everyone's there.
Wonderful.
It's going great, just so you know.
Oh, I'm so glad. Excellent. Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on the time here. It seems to be okay. Emily, I wonder if the what do you want slide might be helpful to them in addition to the screenshot you took.
Sure, I can take a screenshot of this as well.
Oh, thank you.
This is the one thing I like about being a Mac user, is that screenshots are really easy.
I'm obsessed with screenshots. They're the best thing.
We're having our like HVAC system looked at today in our house, and I'm like, they gave us a really big window, and I was like, oh, they'll be late, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna show up right in the middle of this thing.
Of course. Are they there yet?
No, they're not. Luckily, I think we're gonna be in the clear.
Okay. Oh, it's like so Murphy. Like it will happen during this hour.
Exactly, right? Nice. They give me a little timer. You said 10 minutes, right, for the breakout rooms?
I did. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Because the last part, when they come back, depending on how much they have to share, it's going to go pretty quick, I think.
I'm muted. I'm gonna use this opportunity as a quick bio break, so I'll be right back.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I'm back. Your dog barking got my dog like all up.
That's funny. It's actually my neighbor's dog. I don't have a dog.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah, I don't know why, but my dog, whenever I'm on a phone, like a video call, he loves to just like sleep at my feet. Jack's now he's gonna whine at the window because he thought that the dog was barking at him.
Oh gosh. It's like, who's out there? Who's
Yeah, they must have said something really important.
Yeah. What kind of dog do you have?
He's like a super mutt that looks a little bit like a German Shepherd.
Oh, sweet.
Um,
So sweet. Aw.
Jax, come here. Come here. Eddie, will you let me do this? Let's see if you can get in the. Oh, wait, I'm kind of blurred, but
Oh,
in
hey,
the frame a little bit. He's like, I don't want to do this.
Oh, he's so pretty.
Yeah, good boy.
Oh,
He's big. He's a big boy.
big dog. Well, it looks like we just have a few seconds left.
Yep. All right, everyone, I'll be coming back.
Yeah. Oh, it's asking me if I want to close the breakout rooms. Do you see it too? Okay,
Yep, I got it. They should all be coming back.
awesome.
Welcome back, everyone.
How was that time span for you? Too much time, too little?
I thought it was pretty good.
Okay, good. I'm
I
glad.
liked it.
Good to know, just in case I do this again. Not in this form. I won't do it in this form again soon. All right. Well, I see one group is back. It's just taking its time, I think. Oh, here we go. Welcome back, everyone. All right. We had Julie and Sarah in a group. Would one of you like to share your ideas?
Sure. So we talked about, well, one, asking people what matters most to them, just, bringing people's voice into the design and leveraging user-centered design as an approach. And then we also talked about leveraging employee resource groups as a potential place to continue to learn more and identify, again, like what matters most to various populations of the organization. What would they be looking for? What value would the program provide, and what concerns would they have?
What a great idea to use your ERGs. My ERGs weren't started yet, so I didn't have that. That's a great idea. Love that. Yeah, user-centered design. What do people want?
Can I add something that Sarah mentioned, which I love this concept, which is Sarah, this wasn't necessarily with the DEI lens, but I could see how it could support diversity. So it kind of is. But she had mentioned that one of her former programs, the mentor-mentee relationship, there was a mentor that was a core person that you consistently saw, but also the program required you to meet other mentors. So it might be a one-time thing or whatever, but it was people that were from diverse backgrounds, whether it was the location of their position or maybe a different department or geographic location or department, but and different leadership styles. So I could see a huge value, because if you're not vibing with one style or one person for whatever reason, you're still building this network with another. And yeah, what a great way to have the close, psychologically safe mentor-mentee relationship, but also continue the networking part of it with more people.
What a great idea. Love that, Julie and Azure. Yeah, take the pressure off of pairing. Have folks meet several different mentors. They can choose who they click the most with, who they want. Yeah, love that idea. Excellent. And Helen put in the chat, less structure, focus on prompts or themes. Oh, Helen and Azure and Tiffany, I hear you saying like less dictating how people have to behave in the mentoring program and let them drive it more. Would you expand on that? Okay.
Yes. One of my experiences has been that sometimes, well, for example, in the ATD mentoring program, there was a lot of structure involved. Like, it had evolved over the years, and the manual was very, very structured. And when I met with my mentee for the first time, she had told me she was really, really nervous about meeting me and about starting this process. And I asked her why, and she said, "Oh, I read through that manual, and I'm just really overwhelmed. There's just so much going on in there." And I told her, "Oh, don't worry about that. Forget it. Don't worry about it. Just throw that away or put it aside." I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying that because of her situation and her experience, it was very overwhelming. And I said, well, let's just start with, some basic things. So we did not follow that, and she felt so much better. And that's kind of where we're talking about. And it's not to say don't have an idea of what you're doing, but more of what Helen was saying, just have themes that you're going to talk about, as opposed to kind of like a checklist. Like, you have to ask these 5 questions every session, because that can get a little overwhelming, I think, for everybody involved.
Thank you, Azure and Helen. Such a great point. For those of you who didn't take notes, I took notes for you and put them in the chat, because I'm a note taker and I enjoy doing that. So thank you for these amazing ideas. I think how we did that, one of the ways we did what you just talked about, Azure, in our mentoring program, was we have you have an initial conversation first. You think you want this director as your mentor. Great. You have someone in mind. Go have a conversation with them and come back and let me know as the program manager if you want to be paired in a mentoring relationship. So there's a little bit of pressure off of that, and more employee driven in that way. So screenshot or save the chat if for these amazing ideas, everyone. My organization was focused on access. So this is what we did. Sorry, let me get through this. We already talked about those. So we decided to have an annual survey and an end of relationship survey to measure the effectiveness of our program. And we also built in focus groups, because as you know, there's advantages and disadvantages to surveys. We have an quarterly mentoring conversation where the mentors get together with me and we just talk about mentoring, and the mentees also get together with me quarterly and we talk about mentoring, and I have some prompts to kind of get the conversation going if we need, but that allows me to kind of listen and adjust the program as folks needed as well. So sorry, I didn't get to what we had done. Folks do not need permission to join the mentoring program. I don't know what is the push towards, oh, I need permission to do that, but that's kind of how we are. It's not how we want to be, though. So we expect that those who want to join the mentoring program work it out with their managers. We have a time expectation. And me as the program manager, the learning team, we're not going to dictate that. So no permission is needed. So hopefully removing that barrier, that initial conversation with someone you want to be your mentor. You can choose your own mentor if you want. And if not, I can help pair you. So I have conversations with folks as to why they showed interest in the mentoring program, and then have them have conversations and let me know who they want to be paired with after that. So I'm sorry, I lost my screen or my slide notes here. Oh, wow. So just we're in our last few minutes here. So I wanted to give you some of the numbers from the results of our mentoring program in our organization. It's coming up on 2 years and we have about 27 active pairs. 7 mentees have transferred to a new role since the plan started, since the program started. And of course, I can't say that's because of the mentoring program, but it's just kind of good to know, right? That there's that mobility there. And at 1 year, we had just 12 mentors and 14 mentees take our annual mentoring survey. And I was really happy to see that most of them, I think all of them actually, were likely, extremely likely, or very likely to recommend the mentoring program. That really felt good after running that for a year. And then our mentor participation by race and ethnicity closely matches Washington, or our Washington State's demographics too, but our organization's demographics, 70% white. This is all self-report. So this is not from HR reports or anything. It's just self-reported. And then 10% Hispanic or Latinx, 10% Black or African American, and 10% Asian. And I'm happy to see that our mentee participation by race and ethnicity is even more diverse. So only 50% white, and we have a 15% other, of folks who self-reported other, 15% Asian mentees, 15% Black or African American, and just 5% Hispanic or Latinx mentee participation. So I checked, and this does closely match our organization's overall diversity dimensions. So that was of interest to me as well. Questions, reactions to these measures?
Julie had a question in the chat. She's interviewed some mentorship programs who narrow down the mentors to 3 options and lets the mentee choose. She could see how that supports DEI and is curious if anyone knows that in fact supports DEI and has provided any other values to mentors and mentees.
Oh, that's a great, it sounds like what we were talking about earlier, Julie. Has anyone had experience with having their mentee or protege talk with more than one mentor? I have had folks come back after the initial conversation and say, think it was great, but we don't want to be paired, and I'll just have another conversation or move on to someone else. So in that way, they get to talk to more than one person, always running up against the time constraint. Some pairs have taken months to have that initial conversation because they say they're too busy. So again, the learning and development barrier that we have of time. Oh, thank you for putting the additional resources in the chat, Emily. And please do give us your feedback here at ATD Puget Sound. I'm super curious for your feedback as well on this session. Go to this link or scan this QR code with your phone, and you can take the quick satisfaction survey online. Excellent, Julie. I see your question in the chat. Absolutely. Let's connect on LinkedIn.
All right. Thank you so much.
Of course. Yeah, happy to talk more about this. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Bye.
Oh, thank you, Emily. You're the best. Oh,
Tried to stay on top of it.
Oh, it's so I'm not used to my video keeps going off. I don't know why, but it's so nice to have you. I don't have that at work. And it's just you're great. So thank you for all that.
Of course, anytime. I'm really glad that we were able to work together on our first joint first time
Yay.
both presenting. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Emily. Bye.
Bye.